So we're here with Elizabeth Petty. She's the owner of Elizabeth's Gone Raw in Washington, D.C. Now, this place is so fantastic to me, and I'm so excited to have you here. I'm so anxious to hear about your journey. You know, how did you come to this place and open a raw food restaurant?
Well, Brandy, it was, some of it was good fortune, actually, believe it or not. The restaurant was inspired by a health challenge. I was diagnosed with breast cancer 4.5 years ago. And, you know, after sort of, you know, jumping in to a lot of aggressive treatment and chemotherapy and radiation, and you know, I wanted the most aggressive treatment possible because I felt that's what would cure me. When you're diagnosed with you know, with a disease like that, my response was one of sort of taking control. And I realized that, you know, the longer you live with the disease, that there are a lot of different ways that you can actually heal yourself. And I was inspired by a woman by the name of Kris Carr, who wrote Crazy Sexy Cancer.
Sure.
Yeah,
I want to interview her.
Yeah,
So.
she's really quite special. As a matter of fact, she has she's spoken here. So her third book, she did a little book tour and came and
Nice.
spoke. And she's really dynamic, powerful, wonderful woman. But at any rate, you know, after researching and reading what Kris had been through with her health challenge and cancer, stage 4 metastatic disease, I just became inspired to change my diet and my lifestyle. And you know, after my first chemo treatment, I actually started feeling great. I had 17 more to follow, and you know, for the entire time, I felt terrific. And I kept thinking, well, if I feel this good, you know, what am I going to feel like, you know, when I'm not taking the drug? So at any rate, I went on to a healing institute in Florida called Hippocrates Health Institute. And while I was there, I realized, you know, I've been in the food industry for, you know, close to 28 years.
Right, because this started as a catering company. You own a catering company.
Correct, yes. So I bought an existing catering company 24 years ago. It was incorporated 34 years ago. So I was when I was diagnosed, of course, I was in the food industry. And, you know, the good fortune, what I mentioned before, how it's really good fortune, is that I have this venue, I have this building that's used for private events, and I thought, well, why not open a raw vegan restaurant? And you know, my real purpose for the restaurant, it's not necessarily I don't want to proselytize and I don't want to change people. It's just I feel that it's a way to educate without judging. So you know, I welcome anyone to this restaurant to come and experience a new cuisine, and I like to think of it really as new cuisine as opposed to just raw vegan, because I think that the food that we're offering is incredibly innovative and fresh and new, and it happens to be healthy.
Well, yeah, based on what we saw in the kitchen, I mean, it's fantastic. It's artistry,
Yeah,
really, and that's what I try to keep telling people about raw food, and this restaurant in particular, is that this is a culinary experience. Your bar, we have to talk about your bar. It's fantastic. You know, you have organic wines from all over.
Right.
You make your own tonics. You have all kinds of neat little things like root beer flavors, and you know, all kinds of neat things. And they start from scratch and they build these cocktails.
Right.
Organic beers, gluten-free beers.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, so, you know, people don't have to come here and think, oh, you know, we're going to have a salad. You know, I mean, this is artistry.
Yes.
And everything about it to me is so exciting.
Yeah.
And I just want to encourage people to, you know, just step out of the box a little bit. You know, say, hey, I'm going to have something different for dinner tonight.
Right.
And, you know, you come in and it's got all the bells and whistles that you need, you know, that you're looking for. A great bar, great food, great ambiance. I mean, the space that you have.
Thank you.
I said to my crew, I'm like, it looks like a museum.
Oh.
You know, so everything of the dining experience has been thought out very carefully.
Right.
And I mean, just
Well, I appreciate it. It
congratulations.
really, I think it defies a lot of stereotypes associated with raw vegan food.
Exactly.
And you know, there was a time when 20, 30 years ago, being vegetarian was unusual. You know, and I think, and then we saw vegetarians are, I think, feel more comfortable now, and you can eat vegetarian anywhere. I mean, that's a non-issue. And then there's this movement of vegans, and I think vegans still struggle trying to find really nice dining, restaurants. But the stereotype about this type of food has always been sort of more, bamboo and hippie style,
Yeah.
sit on the floor, whatever you like. And so I kind of like the contradiction there, and so that was intentional that I make it. Not only is the food incredibly sophisticated, but I wanted the ambiance to be very sophisticated, and I think it's just a broader appeal,
Yeah.
so that it widens my market.
Mhm. Yeah, because
So-
it's easy to go to like a little cafe and just sort
Yes.
of get a salad,
Right.
something raw.
Right.
But to
Right.
come in here, I mean to be dressed up and make it an evening,
Yeah.
and also like I was telling Chef downstairs, it's so wonderful for somebody like me, who I get so stressed out when I go into a restaurant. What am I going to eat? What do I, what's healthy? How are they preparing this?
Yeah.
When I come in here, I don't have to worry about any of that. I walk in, I know all the ingredients are organic,
Yep.
local,
Mhm.
sustainable.
Right.
You're sourcing.
We strive for 100% organic. That's very challenging. You just saw what Chef prepared downstairs. There are so many different ingredients in the food. So all of our seeds and nuts are organic. All of our oils are organic. Most of the produce is organic. We do buy locally. That's very important. But there's a dish that might require a certain herb that's not available. That's organic, and we
Right.
will use that. So I certainly don't want to give the illusion that it's 100% organic, but we
Yeah.
do try. But yes, we source. One of the things that I think is really impressive that Jonathan does is that every menu every Friday is different. And it's really based on the food that's available that week. And so we wait to see what, when he calls the farm or farms, and he finds out what's local, what's available, that's what he's inspired by. So, it's really, rather than these stayed menus, you go to the restaurant, you see the same thing over and over and over and over again, and that it can't all be seasonal, of course, but I think it's especially exciting that he's able to recreate, every single week. And for most chefs, that's a challenge.
Oh, definitely.
That's really, it's a tough thing to do. So, and then Phil, who is service director, beverage manager, Phil Heiser's done a beautiful job with the wine pairing.
Because he's the sommelier that actually walks
Yes.
around and talks
Yes.
with people about the food choices and the alcohol and spirits that can go along to complement the food. And
Right.
in a place, that's raw and vegan,
Right.
that's spectacular. How
It's
great
new.
is that
It's
to
new.
have?
And that's done an hour before dinner too, which is also always surprises me. He tastes the food right before service, an hour before service, and he's choosing all the wines, and looks
Yeah.
like a little laboratory down there. So
Yeah.
it's fun. It's
No,
great.
it is, and
Thank
it's
you.
it's so high end. That's what I love about it. But yeah, you can just come in and just know that the food is going to be good and healthful and creatively prepared, and I don't have to worry about from a health standpoint, what are they putting in there that I don't like?
Mhm.
Everything is
Mhm.
okay.
Right.
And like you said, maybe it's not. Maybe there's a thing here or there that's not organic. But for me, if we're in the 90 percentile,
Well, I
I'm
think for
happy.
most consumers, yes, I think
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's always going to be a little something. But now,
Sure.
what would you want people to know about raw food? Because there's so many misconceptions.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I've learned, having been vegan for 4.5 years, not 100% raw. So the first 2.5 years after I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I was 100% raw. As a matter of fact, I didn't even eat fruit because of the sugar content. But now I've been able to incorporate cooked food, back into my diet, which I actually quite enjoy. But I think the one thing that's really important about a raw diet is, I think, not to be overly ambitious at first, because don't set yourself up for failure. There's people who feel like, they start a raw diet and then they're tempted by something cooked or they're tempted by something else. And I think it's really important that you forgive yourself. Just like with any diet, I think raw is especially challenging because there's so little information out there about it. And it's really a little bit taboo, and it's hard. Still most people think that it's not healthy. That you're not getting enough protein and you're not getting enough calcium, and that's a whole other conversation. Most of my protein comes from sprouts, the sunflower sprout being really the goddess of all the sprouts with the most chlorophyll. So, and I'm full of energy and I feel great. So, so I think for anyone who is considering a raw food diet, to really, be kind to yourself. Start slowly, yeah, and introduce, raw cuisine, at your own pace and what you think you can, what you can handle. Honestly though, if you don't eat sprouts, the diet will not work. You
Okay,
will
'cause
not
they're-
get enough protein.
Right, there just won't be.
Yes, there's just not enough protein, and then that comes with fatigue and all, other side effects. So that's really the most important thing. Plenty of green juice. Green juice, I think, is I can't imagine a day without green juice, or 2 green juices, or 3.
Yeah,
So,
sure. Because you always feel good when you drink it.
always feel good.
Yeah.
And able to, your body is able to absorb those nutrients so
Right
quickly.
away.
Yeah, and that's really critical. So, but I think I try to be respectful of all choices that people make.
Yeah.
And so when you do dine at Elizabeth's Gone Raw, no one's judging you.
Right.
The choices that you're making. But if you do leave here, feeling that it's changed your life in some way, even if that means I'm going to eat meat 5 days a week and not 7,
Try
or I'm going to
something
I'm going to eat meat once a day and not 3 times a day, or the meat that I eat is going to be farm raised, or whatever
Yeah.
it might be. I think that's going to be unique to the individual.
One little step.
It's which is profound. It really makes a big difference. So.
Yeah. Well, to all of us.
Yes, it
To the
comes
whole
to
planet,
that.
really.
Yeah.
Because our
Right.
actions affect everyone.
That's right. So you're a steward to the planet as you are a steward to yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Great. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was wonderful. And I'm
Yeah,
just so
good.
grateful to be here and for
Thank
your
you.
support. I really appreciate it.